Hi, I'm Jan Bruce.
And I'm Sarah Meinke.
And we're here from meQuilibrium. And we're here today on this Google Hangout for Comcast Healthy Week.
And we're here to hear from Jan today about her top tips to stress less and be happy. But before we get started,
good things to do.
We have a little bit of housekeeping. So first, if you have questions about anything that you're hearing today, just shoot an email to healthy_week@comcast.com, and we'll get to your questions at the end. Additionally, if you have questions about how to sign up to meQuilibrium, you can visit this URL. It's mymeq.com/ComcastNBCU. And we have an even easier way. If you'd like to sign up, you can just text us. You can text the word Comcast to 39771, and it's available not only to Comcast employees, but partners and spouses as well.
So I like this card, Sarah. I think I'm just going to keep holding this up after everything I say today.
Excellent. Great. So we would like to just let you know a little bit about meQuilibrium first. So Jan, maybe you could just tell us, what is meQuilibrium?
Sure. So first of all, I just want to say that Sarah and I work at meQuilibrium, and I am one of the founders of the company. So I'm happy to talk to you about this today. meQuilibrium works like a life coach in your pocket, and it's available now to all Comcast employees and their spouses. And it was designed and created to help you manage your stress and be as resilient as you can be. In fact, the secret sauce to managing stress is resilience, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But resilience is the ability to cope and manage through the stressors and setbacks that you face in your lives.
Great. So maybe you could tell us why somebody would want to use the meQuilibrium program.
Well, do you know anyone who's stressed?
Yeah.
Stress is here's the thing. Stress is a normal part of any life, and face it, it's not going away. We often feel that stress is something that happens to us. We had a terrible meeting, we had a bad day, we have a spat at home, we have a fight with our boyfriend, and it makes us irritable. But it's really about not so much the events, but how we react to things, to these events. And meQuilibrium can help people get in touch with their sources of stress and how they react and behave in the face of these setbacks and daily challenges.
Yeah, it sounds like a program that everybody has a use for.
So if you're really stressed, well, first of all, I wanted to say you're not alone. Today in this country, 22% of U.S. adults say they are under extreme stress. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's extreme. And actually 70% of adults say they have high stress in their lives. So it's part of our culture right now. And the problem is that people who are stressed, well, they sleep half as much as other people, and it tends to lead to overeating as well as other, unhappy habits. I mean, I like to go shopping when I'm stressed, and that's not very good. But if you only do one good thing for yourself and your family, I would start with stress. And meQuilibrium can make that really easy for you, because meQuilibrium works on your phone, on your laptop, with short bites that you can do regularly. And I like, for example, the Cup of Calm, and then I like to watch the videos for meQuilibrium that tell me what to do when I'm angry or upset, and how to get myself back to normal. I like to watch them on my phone, but not when I'm driving. I wait till I'm on the train.
That's smart. It seems like something that would really fit into everybody's lives. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, if I'm to use the program, what type of benefits would I see?
Oh, sure. So meQuilibrium helps people be more focused, more mindful, less stressed, healthier. You sleep better, You get more rest, that helps you get more exercise and be more active and create better healthy habits. But the big picture, when we're stressed, these habits, no matter how well intentioned we are, these habits go out the window. So we start with helping people understand how their thoughts are essentially making their stress worse, and then what are the tools and steps to starting to get in touch with your thinking and managing your thinking so that you can manage through those stressful situations. And face it, we have those all day, every day.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds really powerful. I think this is a good time. If you're interested and want to sign up, again, you can text the word Comcast to 39771. One question I wanted to ask you is, people ask all the time, how did you come up with the name meQuilibrium?
meQuilibrium. So, when you look at the science is very, very clear. We tend to think that when we're stressed out, we want to just like calm down, tell ourselves to calm down or breathe, or, this is kind of an instant gratification culture. But the science is very clear that it's not so much what's going on around you as how you react, your thoughts and your feelings and your behaviors in the midst of those, of that stressful situation. And the science says that if you learn to challenge and then adapt your reaction, you will be able to manage that stress. And that's kind of like regaining your balance or your equilibrium at all times. So we created meQuilibrium to be a tool, a personalized tool that will help every person do that. And we call it meQuilibrium or meQuilibrium. And we also call it meQ a lot.
I love it. Okay, great. So I know that you have a lot of tips about how we can all have less stress in our lives and be happier and overall just live better. So today we have your top 5 healthy habits that we can all incorporate into our daily lives. So I was going to start with number 1.
So, and I like to say, these are based on the notion of life hacks. These are kind of, we call them our stress hacks, right? And there are dozens and dozens of them in meQuilibrium. So on your phone, you can just open them up and pick one and schedule it and then make a habit out of it. But here are some of my favorite 5. So the first one is create a structure for recharging. So here's what I think about this. We recharge our phones, we recharge our batteries, we recharge our desktop, our laptops and our appliances, but we don't necessarily. And by the way, when our children are tired and cranky, we put them to bed because we know they need to recharge. They're not being, they're no good to us. So when they're that way. So what we need to do is learn to make a habit of recharging a structure for ourselves, creating a habit to recharge ourselves. And easier said than done. But here's the thing. What the hack is to think every morning, what am I going to do to get even 5 minutes of recharging, and try to make that habit. Now, you could schedule it to your phone, but you could also just, make a practice of it. And the other underside or opposite or alternate to this is not to multitask, because when you multitask, you're not only not relaxing and recharging, but you're undoing any relaxing. So if you're if you're drinking a cup of tea and then you decide to, respond to some emails, and then you decide to text someone at the same time, you're actually undoing the effect of this. So, put aside even 5 minutes of time to create a structure for recharging.
I love that it only takes 5 minutes, because we can all find 5 minutes.
We can. I mean, let's let's take 20 minutes.
Yeah, that would be.
Let's take an entire commute and then just try to be quiet, because that would be very recharging. If you could just relax or listen to some music and not try to do too many things at once, then you'd feel more on the top of your game when you start your day.
Great. Okay, on to number 2.
So number 2, schedule some happiness. So, this is an interesting. This is a good hack, because it's counter to what we are trained to do. If you're like me, you're constantly making lists and you're constantly trying to schedule all the things that you have to do. But how often do you schedule the things that you want to do? How often do you schedule time to do things that are going to improve your quality of life or give you some happiness? So, for example, instead of scheduling, or in addition to scheduling, I have to go to the grocery store. I have to walk the dog. Maybe you should schedule. I have to call my friend. Make that phone call or read that book. Put in 30 minutes for that, or watch that TV show if that's what you want to do, if that's what makes you happy. But the idea is to try to look at your to-do list and make it a mix, so it's not just the drudge. Now, also, if you're like me, you can maybe give the drudge to someone else. You could try to, or not do it at all, or do it half as often, so that you can try to build more time into your day that is happy and that is scheduled for for good things that make you feel good.
Great. Yeah, it's like prioritizing yourself.
Exactly.
Really
well, if you look at anyone's to-do list, it's mostly chores. So put in some other things. Schedule that fun time. Schedule that movie. When I clean out my inbox, then I'm going to schedule a movie. Why not? Things like that.
I love it. Okay, on to number 3.
Essentialism. Practice essentialism. So this is an interesting concept that has really changed the lives of so many busy people. The theory of essentialism is to do less and do it better. That's essential. That's basically it. That you want to basically be more choosy about what you're going to do. So be more choosy about your commitments. Be more choosy about how you spend your time. Maybe it's not that important to run out every single time, but to give yourself some quality time at home. Maybe you shouldn't sign up for every activity. Maybe you shouldn't go to every meeting. But maybe you should say, well, I'll sit this one out, and instead focus on doing a really good focus job with the things that you are doing. So do less, but do those things well. But can you see how that would make your day a little bit more intense, but more pleasurable and less stressful?
Absolutely. I feel as though this is the hardest one for me, but it's just good to have the reminder.
Well, if you're sometimes people, when you're really stressed, you want to do more and more and more, or you get into this, this habit of, well, how can I go the whole 9 yards? But in fact, maybe pulling back a little bit and just doing a few things really well. Like I find this when I'm, even when I'm, entertaining, or I'm trying to even put dinner on the table for my family. Instead of making, 4 things, just make 2 things, and it'll be a little bit easier and it'll be a little more pleasurable.
Excellent. I think that's a great one. All right.
Number 4. Okay. Observe your thoughts. Now, this is actually something that is one of the core hacks of meQuilibrium, because as I said to you earlier, one of the secret sauce to being able to sail right through the stress of our lives is to learn how our thoughts and our feelings are triggering, our reactions to these events, and to get in control of these. And that starts with this hack, which is observing your thoughts. So what does this mean? If I'm racing down the road and someone is trying to cut me off in traffic, and I get really angry, and I'm like, how could they be doing that? But how often am I not even aware that I'm furious? I'm feeling flushed, I'm feeling irritated, I might be honking my horn, but I'm not even in touch with the fact that I'm furious and I think that other driver is taking advantage of me. Now that's maybe just an odd example, but it's the kind of thing that happens to us all the time. But here's the thing: if you can learn to get in touch with that thought and understand, oh my gosh, I feel anger coming on, but maybe that guy isn't really taking advantage of me. Maybe he's just in a hurry. Maybe he's trying to, get his wife to the hospital because she's having a baby or something like that. If I can observe my thoughts, it will generally calm me down. So when the trick is to make a habit of observing your thoughts, and sometimes just going like, this could help you remember that, but do something to remind yourself that when you're starting to feel stressed, observe your thought. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And is it warranted? And instead of saying like, and grab a cup of coffee, get onto your phone or your laptop and start doing something and just sort of swallowing it, observe it, and then try to understand if it's real, and then you can go from there. And you'll find that 9 out of 10 times it's really helpful at calming you down. Now that 10th time, that guy really was a jerk, and he was a jerk to cut you off, and you are absolutely right to be angry, and since you're observing your thoughts, you'll know it.
Think of how much less frustration and anger we would all have if we could do this all the time.
I know. Yeah. And I tend to get very anxious. So when something goes wrong, I feel like, oh my gosh, everything's going to get ruined. But if I can recognize that I'm feeling anxious and then get to the point where, oh, wait a minute, that's not necessarily going to happen. I'll just prepare slightly differently, and then things are better. So it's a really good trick if you can practice it so that you remember it.
Excellent. Okay, last but not least, we have number 5.
Okay, number 5 is reach out to others. Now, this is my absolute, well, did I say every one of them was my favorite? I hope I didn't. They're all really good, and they all, by the way, come from meQuilibrium, and if you become a meQuilibrium member, participant, you will learn these tricks until they become, hopefully second nature for you. Meanwhile, the last hack, reach out to others, is a great one. When you're in a really bad mood and you're stressed and you kind of go into this negative spiral, usually for me, when that happens, I start talking to myself, but I don't really talk to other people. Like everything is going wrong, and in my head I'm sort of, complaining or just sort of I'm actually making it worse. So this trick is to reach out to others. And here's an example of it. Did you ever get on an airplane and you've been standing in line to board for, an hour, and there's no room in the plane, and you have a middle seat way in the back? Why does that always happen to me? I don't know. But meanwhile, you have, you're really in a bad mood, and your flight is going to be late, and therefore you're going to have to rush when you get off the plane, et cetera, et cetera. So don't sit and stew. Talk to the person next to you. Reach out to others, because when you start that conversation, you start to smile and you start to forget about all of that, anger and anxiety and frustration that is that's sort of amplifying your stress, and you start to relax. You start to change, your breathing will change, you'll start to laugh, and you'll end up feeling like a different person. And you know what? The other thing about this is that you'll make that other person feel really good as well. I mean, maybe they feel just as irate having gotten onto that airplane as as you do, or bus or train or whatever. This is probably a good one for the holiday weekend that's going to be coming up next week, because if but even if you're not traveling, when you're in a funk, don't stew. Reach out, find a connection to someone. It will change everything, more quickly than anything else.
Yeah, this is one is just good to have the reminder, because it's, I think it gets easier with practice.
Yeah. And it's fun.
Okay, great. I'm sure that with all of these, we've had a lot of questions. So I just want to remind everyone how they can submit their questions to healthyunderscore@comcast.com. So are you ready to see?
Absolutely. We love questions.
All right. We're just getting them loaded up. Okay, so one question that we have is, in the moment when someone is like angry or having a tough time in the moment.
Our little text.
Yeah, we can hold that one
up. Do people want to text or email? Maybe we should have both.
I think everyone's got their phone on
out.
them. I think it's the
I like the
easiest
texting.
way.
I think it's really easy, and we can, once you use meQuilibrium on your phone, you can, you can set it up so that you get your own prompts to do any of these hacks, which is fabulous.
I mean, we're on our phone anyway, so you might as well take 5 minutes and improve your stress levels and create some healthier habits. Okay, first question. Someone writes, I have so much on my plate and can barely find time to stop and think. How do you take that time and make it happen?
Well, I think that happens to all of us. And I think that starts with observing, giving yourself a quiet 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, first thing, before, before you get into your day, before you get into your children, before you get into your, your work mode of observing those thoughts, make some notes, and start, think about how you want to be and what you want to do.
Excellent. I'm going to hold this up, the email address up also. I think some people are wondering how they can reach out.
Okay, I'll put this down for now.
Okay. Oftentimes, someone writes, my crazy day puts me in a really bad mood. How do I stop and make a difference in how I react? Well, I think that if you reach out to people, I think one thing you might want to do is talk to someone. Either call a friend or talk to someone in your office. I don't mean complain. I mean reach out and change your mind, your mindset about your day. Like, get away from it. I mean, also, clear your head, get some air, go for a walk, things like that. Those are also good things to do. I love your suggestion about scheduling time to reach out and talking to someone, because that's something that we're all so busy and we all have these crazy lives. And so to be able to have that time on the calendar instead of reaching a voicemail, I think it's just a really good habit. It's true. One of the things with the good news about our phones is that we can instantly text our friends and family and talk to many people at once. But the bad news is that sometimes we don't have it's not a way to have a heartfelt conversation. So finding some time to do that is one of the best remedies, and I guarantee you, it will lower your resting heart rate and make you feel much more in control. Great. Okay. We have someone who's asking, I've heard exercise is a good stress reliever, but I don't always have time for it. Do you think it's better to get more exercise and feel more busy and therefore stressed, or to relax a little bit more and not get as much exercise? Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I like to do both. I mean, I think that there are times when, if you can make a habit of even 10 minutes of exercise, there's the 7-minute workout,
There's, there are lots of programs, even a 20-minute walk, where you can get a little bit, get a little fresh air and exercise. Those are great. But, on the other hand, if you want to stretch out with a book or a video, I mean, that is also, for some people, fantastic. So, different things for different times.
I've been doing the 7-minute workout. I love that suggestion.
I love it.
It's so easy to fit in the morning.
It is. There's really no excuse if the science is incontrovertible that, a 7-minute high intensity workout is actually, does a decent job. Then, I mean, 7 minutes, that's amazing.
Yeah, we all have 7 minutes.
That's right.
Okay, great. Someone else asked me, or is asking, stress really affects my sleep. Do you have any advice on getting back to sleep?
Oh, getting back to sleep. So first of all, that question is right on the money. Stress, what we see in our data and the science is that people who are under a lot of stress sleep much less, and poor sleep then has this cascade of problems. You don't sleep well, so you don't get enough exercise. Your body is tired, and you tend to eat more foods that are like comfort foods, high fat, high sugar, high carbohydrate content, food content, and then you kind of don't feel that good about yourself, and you stop connecting with people, and you stop being highly productive to accomplish your goals. When you don't feel that good about yourself, you kind of want to just veg. So sleep is one of the most essential things. And I think that waking up in the middle of the night because you can't, with those sort of like thoughts that are, the equivalent of like the monster in the dark, everything's going to go wrong. I'm going to, I'm going to be late for work, and I'm not going to get promoted, and I'm not going to be successful, and I won't be able to afford retirement or college or whatever it is. Those are all important. Those are all real in the dark of the night. So what you have to do is learn to get in touch with your thoughts so that you can basically dispel them by saying, well, that's only the worst case scenario, but probably it won't be as bad as that, and try to help yourself get back. Now, my favorite tips for sleep, because I know something about waking up in the middle of the night, being with those thoughts, is first of all, I try to not wake up and watch television or things like that, because that is, that will make it harder. I try to I try to observe my thoughts, and then, practice just, being calm and relaxed and telling myself that these are going to go away. I also try to go to bed a half an hour earlier than I'm inclined to go to bed, because I think that we all push the envelope in terms of sleep. And there, Comcast has a wonderful sleep program, as well as, and meQuilibrium also has wonderful modules that help you practice better sleep hygiene and manage your thoughts in the middle of a stressful night of sleep or a night of no sleep. So I think if you focus on it, there are lots of ways to make it better.
Excellent. We are just out of time for questions. I know we didn't quite get to them all, but hopefully we'll be able to answer those offline. I did want to say that you are able to, the texting, oh, here it is. If you have 5 minutes and you want to do something positive for your stress levels and you want to have a happier life and develop some better habits, we encourage you to text us at the number here. Just text the word Comcast. And if you have 5 minutes, you can take an assessment, get your personal stress profile and stress personality, and get some more tools and build some skills to help you live a happier and less stressed life. So thank you, Jan.
You're welcome. This was great. We'll do it again.
Excellent. Have a good day, everybody.